Good evening, my dear friends. I hope you've come tonight with stories of your own little miracles, because I know some of you tested what we spoke about last week. In fact, just the other day, I received a letter from a young woman who wrote to me and said, "Neville, I tried your little experiment, and my landlord lowered my rent." Oh, my friends, do you see? The world bends to your assumption. Tonight, we'll go deeper into this law, the law of assumption. Last week, I told you that imagination creates reality, that your inner world shapes the outer. But now I want to give you the key to making it work, the law of assumption. What does it mean to assume? It means to take on the feeling of the thing desired as though it were already yours. Not tomorrow, not next week, but now. The Bible tells us, all things are possible to him who believes. And what is belief but the assumption that what you desire is already true? Let me explain it this way. The law of assumption is not about hoping or wishing or waiting for the world to change. No. It's about living in the end, living as though your desire is already fulfilled. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you set in motion a chain of events that must bring it to pass. The world has no choice but to conform to your inner state. It's the law. I'll tell you a story. Some years ago, I knew a man who was down on his luck. He had lost his job, his savings were gone, and he was living in a tiny room he could barely afford. But he came to me one day and said, "Neville, I want to feel wealthy again." Now, most people would have looked at his circumstances and laughed. Wealth? With empty pockets? But I told him, don't look at your pockets. Look within. I told him to assume the feeling of wealth, to imagine himself dining in fine restaurants, feeling the weight of money in his hands, hearing the clink of glasses as he toasted with friends. Not as a dream, but as a reality. Now. So he did. Every night, he would close his eyes and imagine himself walking through the finest establishments, ordering the best meals, feeling the crispness of new bills in his pocket. He didn't worry about how it would happen. He simply assumed the feeling of wealth. And do you know what happened? Within a few months, opportunities began to come his way. A friend offered him a small job, which led to a better one. Then an investment he'd forgotten about paid off unexpectedly. Before long, he was living the life he had assumed in his imagination. Not because he forced it, but because he assumed it. Do you see what I'm telling you? The law of assumption is the bridge between your imagination and your reality. It's not enough to just picture something. You must feel it as real. You must assume it is done. If you desire love, assume you are loved. Feel the warmth of it now. If you desire health, assume you are well. Feel the strength in your body now. If you desire success, assume you are successful. Hear the congratulations. Feel the pride now. Do not wait for evidence. Your assumption is the evidence. The world will tell you it's impossible. Your friends might say, be realistic. Your own mind might whisper doubts. But I say to you, do not look to the world for permission. The world is a shadow. It can only reflect what you hold within. Look to your assumption and hold fast to it. The Bible says, according to your faith, be it unto you. And what is faith? It's the assumption that what you've imagined is already yours. Let me give you another example. A woman came to me once, heartbroken because she longed for a child. But the doctors had told her it couldn't happen. She was in despair. So I said to her, don't listen to the doctors, not because they're wrong, but because their truth is not your truth. Assume the feeling of being a mother. I told her to imagine holding her baby in her arms, to feel the weight of that little body, to hear its laughter, to smell its sweet scent, and most of all, to feel the joy of knowing she was a mother. She took my advice to heart. Night after night, she rocked her imaginary child to sleep in her mind. She assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And within a year, against all odds, she wrote to me with the news she had adopted a beautiful baby girl and her heart was full. Coincidence? No, my friends. It was the law of assumption at work. She didn't wait for the world to give her permission. She assumed it was done, and the world rearranged itself to match her inner state. Now, how do you apply this law in your own life? It's simpler than you think, but it takes courage. Courage to believe in the unseen. Here's what I want you to do tonight. Take a moment, right now, and think of something you desire. It doesn't have to be grand. It can be something small, something that stirs your heart. Maybe it's a kind word from someone, a little victory at work, a moment of peace in your home. Whatever it is, choose it now. Now, close your eyes for a moment. I won't make you do it here, but imagine it when you're alone tonight. Imagine a scene that implies your desire is fulfilled. If it's a kind word, hear that person saying it to you. If it's a victory, feel the satisfaction of it. If it's peace, feel the calm washing over you. Don't just see it, feel it. Feel the relief, the joy, the certainty that it's done. And then carry that feeling into your day. Assume it is true. Walk through your life as though it's already yours. Don't argue with the world. Don't try to force it. Simply assume it. And watch the world rearrange itself to match your inner state. This isn't magic, my friends, though it might feel like it at times. It's the law. The same law that governs the stars in the sky and the flowers in the field. Assumption is faith in action. The moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you've planted a seed in the garden of your mind. Tend it with feeling, and it must grow. But you must not waver. Don't dig up the seed to see if it's sprouting. Assume it is done, and let it be. I know some of you are thinking, but Neville, what if it doesn't work? And I say to you, it will work if you persist. The only reason it fails is if you abandon your assumption. If doubts creep in, gently return to the feeling of the end. Don't fight the doubts, just assume again. The law cannot fail. It's as certain as gravity. But you must apply it. My friends, this is only the beginning. The law of assumption is a tool, a key to unlock the life you've always dreamed of. But it's not enough to hear it. You must live it. So go home tonight, choose your desire, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and watch the miracles unfold. When we meet again, I want to hear your stories. I want to hear how the world bent to your assumption. Until then, my dear ones, assume the best, live in the end, and let the world catch up to your inner vision. Good night.